Welcome back to my kitchen for another episode, yummy episode of Cooking with Cor. The premise of this meal is to be able to cook and grill outdoors throughout the winter. To me, grilling is so simple. It keeps the mess outside, it keeps it healthy. So we grill all winter, and I'm giving you options of what to do. Today we're going to be making a grilled trout. Trout is in the salmon family. I already cleaned the trout, but I'm going to demonstrate what I do with it. When I call the fishmonger, I ask him for 2 trout that I want filleted. So I get my 2 trout, which yields me 4 pieces. And when I bring it home, which I recommend that you have a decent pair of fish pliers. A regular plier from the garage is not going to work. It's got a little flat nose on it, and I'll show you what I do. I've already cleaned it. It's time consuming. I take my piece of trout, I wash it, I dry it, and I lie it on a piece of paper towel. Then if you just run your fingers down the fish, you'll feel the bone. So you'll go along, and as you feel the bone, you'll just pull them out until you feel them all gone. It takes, like I said, it takes a little time. I did a great job on these, so I'm not even going to find one bone. Next, I am going to make the marinade for the trout. Now, olive oil. Here again, I've told you all about my obsession with olive oils. I like Italian, I like Greek olive oil, but in all honesty, this Filippo Berio from Costco, the extra virgin olive oil, is delicious. Very creamy, deep color. So you need like 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a little dish. You don't want to have too little olive oil, otherwise your fish will stick to the grill. The next thing is you're going to need 1 clove of garlic. So I use, for 2 trout, I'm going to use a nice big clove of garlic, either 2 small or 1 large. So let's get this into the marinade. And the garlic really gives the fish a delicious flavor, so if you really don't like garlic, you don't have to. I can't see anyone not liking garlic. Next thing I'll be placing in this marinade is now sea salt. You can just get the Costco sea salt, French sea salt. I happen to like the Maldon sea salt. It's from England, and the reason I like it, and I'll show you, it is a flaked sea salt. So it's like a crunchy, soft, almost like a pyramid-shaped sea salt. You need a good teaspoon of it. Fish without salt is terrible. But if you take a look at it, it's like little crystals of flaky sea salt. And it's really delicious. Let's take some out. Black pepper, and as you know from my past episodes, I like everything aggressively spiced, so that's solely up to you. You don't have to use quite as much as I do, but I like things having good flavor. Those of you who have had my salmon know what great flavor that salmon has. I use a couple of shots of red chili cayenne, actually cayenne pepper, right here. And that's optional. You don't have to use cayenne if you don't want to. It just gives it a little tiny kick. And the last most important ingredient would be the herbs de Provence. Now, you can get these anywhere. Any specialty store, any supermarket. This happens to be one from France. This is one from Victoria Gourmet. They're all good. The secret to the herbs de Provence is that it's got little lavender leaves in it, so it gives your fish such a delicious flavor. I'm going to use about a teaspoon. I'm going to mix my mixture, and it's almost like a paste, if you can see. It's got a thinner consistency, but it's pretty thick. This whole mixture right on my fish fillets. You can also make this with, I buy Bronzino, also sold as Bronzini, Loup de Mer. It's a Mediterranean sea bass that is delicious. So it's thinner, it's not quite as meaty as the, and tasty, as a matter of fact, as the trout, but it's still a very good fish, and it's an easy way to cook it, grilling it. So now that I have my fish all marinated, which I will show you how it looks, I'm going to put it in the fridge until it's ready for the grill, and I'm going to turn on my grill and get it to 500 degrees. Okay, so next we'll be making broccoli rabe. It's sauteed broccoli rabe, and we use a little crumbled feta at the end. It's not actually crumbled feta, it's a block of feta, which I will show you in a moment. It sits in water. Don't buy the crumbled, it doesn't taste as good. The one that sits in the water that's in the block, that's actually from Greece, is just superior to the others. Here's the broccoli rabe, which I have already washed. The stems will get tender when you cook it, and I'll demonstrate that. So what you'll need is olive oil, sea salt, a little hot pepper, which is optional, black pepper. Those of you who are vegetarian, vegan, you don't need to use chicken broth. You can use a vegetable broth. You need garlic and your feta. Take the cover off my pot, and I use the Le Creuset, the enamel cast iron. They're just wonderful. I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there, and I'm going to turn my flame on to get that olive oil nice and hot. So I'm using, again, Vincent's garlic, organic garlic, already peeled. I use 2 large cloves, which I slice thin. It's such a juicy, crunchy, great garlic. Now, when you saute your garlic, as I always tell you, never burn your garlic, otherwise it imparts a bitter flavor to your food. And if the case is that your garlic is burned, discard it, start all over again. This is what your feta looks like. Now, this is a package that we've been using, and there's really not quite enough. So let me fish this little piece out of here. That's a little piece of feta, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. It's a big block sitting in water, and I usually cut a thin slice. So you don't need a lot of feta. That's 2 tablespoons or so. Putting the feta in your broccoli rabe just gives a creamy, delicious texture and flavor to the broccoli rabe in the end. So I just cut it up with a knife, just getting it prepared for the end of the cooking. You don't want to put it in one big block, otherwise it never really melts down. So we're going to put our sliced garlic right into the oil, nice and hot. And with the garlic, I put my red chili pepper flakes in because I like them to spark up the olive oil. I use a wooden implement in my enamel cast iron pots because you don't want to scratch your pot. I have to use the tongs in the end to just fish everything out. But I'm very gentle with I treat my pots and pans with a lot of care. So you don't want to burn it. Just give it a little tiny browning, which is really there. And now you want to start adding your broccoli rabe. Now there's no real system, just get it all in the pot because you're going to cook this for a while. Broccoli rabe tends to be a little woody, and this is the way you get it soft. And I'm going to add my chicken broth right away so that my garlic on the bottom doesn't start burning. So for this amount of broccoli rabe, about 1.5 cups to 2 cups would be fine on the broth, whether it's vegetable broth, chicken broth. Now, what I do at this point, before I even add salt and pepper, I cover it and let it start cooking, almost steaming the broccoli rabe so that it starts getting tender. Okay, at this point I'm going to take the cover off the broccoli rabe because you want your broth to evaporate. So off it comes. I'm going to add some sea salt. Not too much because the feta has salt. And black pepper. Now at this point you have to keep an eye on it because you don't want it to burn. You want to have the broth evaporate, but you never want to burn it. So you're just going to keep an eye on it and keep tossing it. I have my feta here for the very end. Okay, so the grill is at 500. We're going to want to set our fish perpendicular on our grates. Just the way it is here in the pan is the way we're going to put it on the grill. 1, 2, skin side down. So the trout has a skin, so you want it skin side down. So close your grill, and it takes maybe 5 minutes. You know your fish is done when the center looks slightly white. Take it right off. So let's close this, about 5 minutes. We're going to get a nice clean pan to put it on and just leave it. Okay. Oh, the fish is perfect. It's ready. Now we have it this way so hopefully we won't lose that delicious crispy skin. It takes a little bit of skill to get it off, which I'm going to be honest with you that I do all the marinating and prepping and Ken does all the grilling. So I'll show you how the trout should come off the grill. Crispy like this, the skin, and perfectly cooked. Now we'll introduce our broccoli rabe in just a moment. So we're just going to introduce our feta to our broccoli rabe and toss it around. You'll see the feta starts melting into the broccoli rabe. As you can see how quick and easy this meal is. It's such a simple meal to make and healthy. Have a little bite here. It's delicious. I hope that you'll venture out, try different fish. It's so easy to cook fish, it's so healthy, and it can be done all winter long. Enjoy, and thank you for joining me.